Hello and welcome to ImprovHuddle, once called Improv TV, now called ImprovHuddle from now on because the URL is free. Today we're going to be talking about long-form narrative, and we're going to be looking at a specific one called Game of Death by Jacob Bannigan. And I love Jacob Bannigan's work, and I love narrative improv. It was just always my favorite. Ever since I even got started, right after short form, I saw and was introduced to the monomyth, which is, just like the hero's journey going all the way through Jungian forms. So cool. It was so scary. It was so alive, and you could just you could just go into the characters and just all kinds of beautiful stuff, which I just loved. And I had a piece of pizza, but I just ate it. I just ate the whole thing, and now it's totally gone. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. The thing we're going to notice right off the bat, which before I get off on this first topic, is before I noticed how I talked about how happy the host was to see the audience and how useful that was. Well, I recently went to the Atlanta Black Box Comedy Festival, and I want to throw a shout out to that because me and my duo troupe, narrative troupe, The Droids Are Looking For, went down there and we did a show, and I was so sick. But the performances there were really fantastic. There were some fantastic groups there from Toronto and Washington, D.C. and New York. Let's see, it was Hot and Sweaty, I believe, from Washington, D.C. North Coast from New York. Oh my gosh. Fantastic work. There was like this, I think it was 5-girl woman group from Toronto, Canada. Good work. Really great emotional game playing. North Coast improv rap, great. Hot and Sweaty, just really cool form, just like a town hall form, and then they would attack right into it. And the town halls, of course, you start from one place and sort of explore the characters, and then whenever you find a thing worth going into, but every time they explored each character and found like their thing, which I thought would be a really good exercise, just in general. It probably was, and that's what became the show. But I wanted to give a shout out to all the great people there in Atlanta. So, and while we were there, I saw some hosting that I really liked. And the hosting I saw there was the people came out and met the audience wherever they were at to get started. So if the audience was like, blah, just totally off the rocker, then that's when you can come in and you can just meet them where they're at. As blah, and if they're like really chill, maybe it's better to just sort of clown it up a little bit and just sort of be chill and have that energy inside and kind of bring them up with you rather than like hit them super hard like kapow. But I haven't experimented with that a whole lot yet. I'm excited to, though, because I witnessed a lot of that, or a bit of that, and I really liked what I saw there. So that was super cool. So, gosh, that was such an interlude that... No, we're gonna do this. Narrative, Jacob Bannigan, A Game of Death. So excited. This is my favorite improviser and my favorite show, I think, that I've seen. And I can't believe I called Jacob up or Facebooked him and was like, can I use your show, please? And he was just like, yes, you can. And I was like, yes. So, good. And let's go ahead and get started.
For the first bit of inspiration, can I ask you to please choose a card here? Anyone you like? This one. Oh, yeah, good, cool. Number 16. The stars. So if the stars are important in this story, what do you think the author would be trying to represent? What are the themes that come out if we put stars as being important in the story?
Okay, notice how chill he is. You don't have to do this always. You don't always have to do this, but he is so chill. And that energy really does well and persists well throughout the entire work. I would be afraid of dropping down my energy too far if I were in this territory, but he does just fine.
Destiny.
Destiny.
Navigation.
Navigation. Interesting. Sorry?
Dreams.
Dreams.
Secret.
Secret.
Wishes.
I should preface that this is an Impro 2013 in Berlin, so if you hear a lot of German accents, that's what's going on.
Wishes. Okay, that's lots. Thank you. Anything surprising on there's the official interpretations as well.
It says imagination, success,
Success.
fame, and reputation.
Reputation. All right, cool. Now this will be these are the themes for the beginning of the story. This first card. Now the second card. Sure. Sir, can you pull one? Thank you. Number 27. The letter. A letter, of course, means there's a message. Any other
Secret.
secret?
Tax.
Love letter.
Taxes? Did you?
Love.
Regret. Lover.
Love, regret, lovers.
Good news.
Good news.
Bad news.
Bad news. Yeah. We'll have to see what happens when it comes up, I think. Any surprises on the list there?
Award, trophy.
An award or trophy. Oh, interesting. Okay. Now, this third card is special. It's going to be hidden from me. Because here we have the beginning of the story, the middle of the story. These things will influence the...
Okay, this seems slow online, but it doesn't seem slow in person, I'm sure. At first, it's just intriguing. So right now, you're in online mode, so if you're getting bored, it's just because of the location. Keep in mind that when you're in a theater, you have a lot more patience, and you can do this creating all these promises. This is what he's doing right now. He's loading up promises and getting you interested because you're like, is he really going to do all of this stuff? And he is. He is.
How it goes. But the end of it, I don't want to see the card right now. So please take a card and then show it to Felipe. Okay. Who pulled that card? The last one. You did? I'm going to give you this little bell. And sounds like that. Now, the first story is usually about half an hour to 40 minutes long. And when you think it's time to flip the card, this will be like the last phase of the story. How do we get out of the trouble that we're in? Okay? So it's up to you. I'm going to give this to you, or you can just use your imagination. Where should the story be? Do you want to take a look and choose a place?
China.
In China. Okay, do you want to point out where in China?
Okay, this is an important thing. So all of these, this is your, this is kind of like your invocation, but it's also when he's getting all of his suggestions, right? And so this is the moment when your questions really matter. And we play around a lot with the questions that we try to ask and how we build up the show. And I love, actually I may steal just blatantly this, which is the idea of having the globe. Because if you ask for anywhere, you're gonna get these super generic places, but if you hand someone a globe, and notice his was blown up so he can take it with him everywhere. If you hand someone a globe or a map, they can choose a place on it, that place. And they'll see places that they never would have thought of before. Indonesia, you know, you would never, ever, ever get Indonesia as a suggestion. Even if you said an exotic, crazy, faraway place. Even if you just said some place you visited last year. But if you give them a globe, you might get something really cool.
Longchu.
Longchu, oh, wonderful city. Longchu, where is that? So it's right in the middle.
Yes.
Looks like there's a river going through it, probably a big, crazy river. Longchu, maybe in the mountains. And I'll ask you one other thing. The number 16 is on the first card we pulled. Now I'd like to use that to decide something about time. 16 minutes, 16 years, or an age, or a year. Can you tell me what does 16 mean in terms of time?
Centuries?
16 centuries. Someone will die because this is a game of death, and this is the egg timer of death. So yeah, the first story is usually around 30 to 40 minutes, but you can set this timer any time in there, and then put it under your chair so I can't see when it's going to go off. When it goes off, death will hit the story. Okay, so you are the bringer of death, please.
Okay, whoa, that's so good. I just love everything about that. Like, he had a crazy number of suggestions. It was almost too many to keep track of. Like, what all did he do? He, gave someone an egg timer and put something under his chair and got 1,000,000 cards and asked what they all meant and took 1,000,000 suggestions from everywhere. That's a crazy big memory. He's probably incorporating more things than I feel like I can keep track of, which is what's important. But it's a good idea to get a lot of suggestions if you can use as many of them as possible. He had a globe and timers, and someone rang a bell to get someone to die, and there was an egg timer that gets someone to die. Maybe, I don't know what the bell was for. Maybe there was too much, but there was a lot, and it was great. So much fun. Okay, nothing's happened. It's been black and there's been flutes, and that's great. That is not short form style. That isn't even herald form style. That's just narrative stuff, which is let's just play something slow and interesting in black to get us the feel. And music does a whole lot to color how we interpret everything. I highly suggest trying improvising to music if you haven't, especially if you're going to start going into narrative form. It's just so grounding. You can't go to Crazyville listening to normal emotional music. Or at least it's very hard. Action music, you can go to Crazyville. Anyway, that's all.
The man is walking along the edge of a cliff with his eyes closed. The Chinese cliffs, very straight up, beautiful fog rising from the valleys. The light is pink. The sun is coming up. Birds are flying below the man.
Did you forget about me? Because that was amazing. And I love that he just started telling about what was going on, right? And if you need to show all that stuff and build the minds of what's going on, do it. Do it. It's great. He dropped his flute. Who cared? He was gesturing the fog coming up the cliffs, and he picked it up again. So who needed it, right? I mean, what I'm saying is that wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. He was using the space to build the stuff. He was no longer a character. He was a storyteller, and then he became the character again to continue along playing his music. So cool. So the whole scene was set up in that. Looking more confident playing. That's what this whole scene is going to be about. You know, not supposed to be doing it. You'll see.
Ping! You are not supposed to be up here. It is very dangerous. You're supposed to be with your family. I know, Shang Shui. But I enjoy your music so much, and I was hoping to perhaps learn from you the way to make the music so beautiful that makes everybody so happy. That is not what your family is known for. Your family are the meat cutters. My family, we are the artists. It is your destiny to cut meat. If I had a son, I would teach him. Oh, I have a daughter, but she cannot play. Not this. Ping! Come here to the edge of the cliff. You said it was too dangerous. Come, Ping. Yes.
Okay, so it's important to be able to describe your characters in what's called a blank but blank blank. So 2 adjectives and a noun, basically. So how would you describe the flautist as of right now? A blank but blank blank. A wise but friendly flautist. And then one for Ping. What was the flautist name? Sun Shui? That might have been lost, actually. That may not be used again. Ping, we don't know yet. No, we do. He's naive, well, maybe a timid, but brave, curious? Meat cutter's kid. Right. And I will also say that that first interaction says the preface for the entire thing. I've seen this before, but watching it again just reminds me just how much it all wraps in. And you just do that by having that first interaction matter by going back to it later. It's good.
You see, the clouds are parting over the village. You see your house? You see my house? This will be a great city one day. Ping, you must make the city strong. Keep to the traditions. Do you understand? No. You don't understand. No, I do understand, but I don't like it.
Okay, this is a side note. That's the first time I recall. I haven't mentioned that he's doing it all himself yet and the way that he's doing it. But so far we've seen him, I forget the word for it. The word I use for it is drop. So he dropped the character here and then he ran over, became a character, yet used his master gesture, which is a gesture that describes who you are. Ooh, those are the 2 we've seen so far. And then maybe there's a storyteller who's just usually a generic high status moving kind of neutral character. But what we just saw was him go like be the kid and then speak as the other guy, like, how did you see him? And then be like, oh, I didn't, right? So he was able to carry on the conversation and he thought that the kid was more interesting and it wasn't worth switching. He was more interesting visually, the kid was more interesting visually, and the other guy was more interesting what he had to say. So he didn't move visually so that he could provide both. A useful tool when otherwise you'd have to switch. And we'll see another one later. Well, actually, it's so far later, I should just tell you now. The other way to do it is just pivot. So, like, what are you doing there? Like, doing what? Like, I saw you. You were getting into the garlic again. Smell my hands. It's like, they smell like lavender. That's right. You can't prove anything. So it's just pivots rather than like, what are you doing there? Wait, sorry. I want to use the key. Like, what are you doing there? Like, what am I doing? Because having to move all the way over has a big time consequence for not a lot of gain. All right. Oh no, I'm getting a phone call. How embarrassing.
Ping, we have lived this way for 1,600 years. Ping family.
So we just got to laugh because he used 1600, which was one of his many billion suggestions.
Cuts meat. The Sheng Shui family makes the music, makes the paintings. There's balance.
I should also say, okay, I know this is so important. The beginning is always so important. It's the later part that seems hard and the part that doesn't matter. They are setting up what is called an exile, because this is a monomyth. This is so a monomyth, which means, you know, the hero's journey that you see in every single film, basically. It's a kind of story. And in a monomyth, you have a character who has a fault, who then has to leave, who has to go to a place where their fault is hard to work with. And then they have to get over their fault and therefore conquer the place, and then use their newfound powers to come back home and change the home and realize that they and the home are both different to go into a new world for the rest of their lives. So once upon a time, and every day, and then one day, and then something changes, blah, 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 and then every day since then. That's called the story spine. And so now he's doing an exile right now. I think he's doing an exile. Maybe it's not a strict exile, but it's hard to say if we're entering the new world or not. But we're definitely setting up a character with strengths and weaknesses. Yep, and a desire. I have a dream. He needs to have a dream of how the world could be different. And a world with problems. And the problems everyone else may not know about, but we'll know about the problems just by the way it's conveyed.
Do you wish to upset the balance? What of your destiny? I'm a vegetarian. I will not touch another piece of meat. Ping, that is not for me to know.
There it is, kapow. I will not touch another piece of meat. So that's the inciting incident. That's what sets it all going.
It's for you to deal with your family. Please, go back home. I have to practice for the big concert tonight. What are you doing? Improvising. You want to just change everything? This melody was taught to me by my grandfather. Do you want to just make up new things? Huh? Do you want to invent a new animal to chop for your family? You cannot. You want to change the stars? You cannot. Ping, go home. I will tell no one of this. Hi. Hi.
Okay, cool. So that was the inciting incident. Well, yeah, we saw that he doesn't want to chop meat. Probably now we're going to see the real one. I know we are. Because we've set up a hero with desires and he wants this stuff and he wants to, get away. He has a dream. He has strengths and weaknesses. He's curious and bold and yet kind of timid and low status. He can't quite sing yet, but so we know all this stuff, and we know this guy who wants a son. He's the mentor character. It's pretty clear. It's set up as that. At least as of so far, he might end up being the messenger who sends him away, who exiles him. So this is all super exciting so far. I think we should probably take a break. So this is the beginning of the narrative. long form improvisational section. Once again, I'm Phil. This is Improv Huddle, where we break down making things up. I hope to see you again next time. This one. No, this one. How about this one?